Well, thank you guys for coming out today. We'll have myself, Sean Hurst, Assistant Fire Chief with the Orem Fire Department, as well as Lieutenant Jeremy Jameson with Orem PD speaking today. We're here to issue a statement regarding the fire that occurred on December 26th at 479 East, 1450 North. Before I get into the update, I want to thank some of our partners that have helped us in assistance on this investigation and on the fire scene. On the fire scene, we had Salt Lake City Fire and their canine officer, as well as USAR and their cadaver canines, the ATF, and Utah County. And we also want to thank Provo Fire and Pleasant Grove Fire for their assistance on the fire scene the night of the 26th. In partnership with the Orem Police Department and the State Fire Marshal's Office, we have concluded the evidence collection at the scene of the fire. We are now working on piecing together all this evidence to determine the specifics as to what occurred the night of the fire. At this point in the investigation, from the fire behavior encountered during the firefight and evidence found on scene, we believe the fire was intentionally started and that its rapid progression structure was aided. We are not going to get into the specifics of the evidence collected at this time. We are still working on processing this evidence with the assistance of the State Crime Lab and other resources. At this time, I'm going to turn the time over to Lieutenant Jeremy Jameson with the Orem Police Department.
So the on-scene investigation has been completed, and we have turned the house over to the homeowner. Right now, investigations is waiting for the evidence to be processed, so it is an active investigation still. Right now, the Orem Police Department is going to put up a tip line, so if anybody has any information regarding this incident, they can actually call 1-801-229-7579.
At this time, if there are any questions regarding the investigation or the fire the night of the 26th, feel free to go ahead and ask questions.
Why do you believe that it was intentionally started?
Due to the behavior and then some of the evidence that's been collected on scene supports that conclusion at this time.
Can you elaborate on that evidence?
I'm not going to get into the details of the evidence, but it's basically items and then pieces of the structure that we've collected.
And the fire behavior, what about the fire behavior points to this being arson?
So this structure was uncompleted at the time of the fire. So that inherently that structure is going to burn very, very fast anyways. But as we examined the scene, we believe the rate of spread of that fire is not conducive to normal fire behavior.
It spread faster than it would have if it weren't arson.
That's correct.
Is the homeowner a suspect? Have you cleared him or talked to him or her? Who's the homeowner?
I'm going to defer to Jameson on that one.
So we have been in contact with the homeowner and the family, and I'll leave it at that.
So everybody's a suspect, I guess, at this point?
So again, it's still an active investigation, and we're trying to get the information from the forensic that was collected, but it's an active investigation.
And did you guys come to the final total dollar amount on damage?
We'll leave the final to the insurance companies. The property is now in the home or in the custody of the insured, and there's private investigators on scene right now establishing a value to the property. It was listed at just under $4 million on the MLS.
So do you believe the fire was started on the inside or outside the house?
The inside of the home.
And was it secure? Do you feel like somebody broke into the home and set the fire?
I can't speak to that at this time.
And do you believe there were multiple ignition points?
That I also can't speak to.
I'm sorry, is it Sergeant?
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
I apologize. Lieutenant, let me ask a couple other questions to you. Have you accounted for the whereabouts of the homeowner at the time of the fire?
Again, it's an active investigation first and foremost, and we have been in contact with the individuals.
Are they in state or out of state?
Again, I'm not going to speak on that.
Was there any ongoing disputes between contractors and the homeowner or anything that you guys have pinpointed?
Again, it's an active investigation, and at this time, I cannot speak on that.
And why was a cadaver dog brought in? That is precautionary?
Yeah, so we did 2 runs of the USAR cadaver dogs. 2 different canine officers ran the scene just to ensure that a fire of this magnitude burning at this level is very hard to find a human body. and the canines assist us with ensuring there's no human remains in the structure, and that was negative.
Do you have a sense of how fast it went up?
Any sense?
Any sense of how fast did the fire go? I mean, I guess in normal circumstance, would you be able to put this out quickly, or how fast did it go?
I don't have an exact time of the rate of progression. When our first units arrived on scene, they said 60 to 70% involvement. By the time they were able to pop one door on the north end of the structure, when they went back to get more equipment, that north end, the fire had pushed through that north end and they weren't able to make access. So extremely fast.
Have you been able to pinpoint the type of accelerant used?
No, we have collected several pieces of evidence. The state crime lab is working on those pieces of evidence to determine what those might be.
Can you explain the process of investigation? You keep saying it's an active investigation, but what steps are both departments taking to find suspects, and other than the work that you're doing in the labs?
So the investigation is quite extensive. We are talking about concluding the on-scene investigation, and that's just a small part of what's been going on the last 10 days. So we're just talking that on-scene is done. There's still a lot of warrants out, a lot of interviews that have taken place, a lot of data collection that's still going on.
Can you speak to the specific warrants or the people that you're interviewing?
Go ahead.
I'm not going to speak on who we're interviewing, but as for warrants, I mean, there's obviously data out there that we can collect, and by getting a warrant, it allows us to be able to identify certain things for our investigation. And so, and like I said, it's an active investigation, and it's an active investigation.
Any surveillance video that might have included?
That's one of the reasons why we have the tip line, is because we are soliciting that. If there's individuals out there that may have information regarding this incident, they're able to call in. We'll take whatever resources or support systems that are out there to help us with this investigation.
And I'm sure a home like that, of that size, with that security in it, is there an alarm system? Was there any reports of break-in or anything like that?
Again, with it being an active investigation, I can't say that there was security. However, that's part of the forensic, being able to collect information and make sure, based on it being a fire, it's just how to be able to collect that information, that evidence.
Where have you sought warrants?
Again, it's an active investigation, and I'm not going to speak on that.
Have you sought warrants beyond the property itself?
Yes, I would say we have, just based on, there's cell phone towers and things of that nature. So, but again, it's an active investigation.
Are you ruling out the homeowners as suspects?
So right now, we don't have a suspect. It's an active investigation, and so we're looking into the evidence after it's been collected, and the homeowners have been, we've been able to be in contact with them.
And have the homeowners been cooperative?
Yes.
And are there any persons of interest?
Again, with it being an active investigation, we are collecting that information, and that is to be determined.
Gentlemen, what if you walk us through the timeline in terms of what you've been able to learn as when was the last time somebody was at the house that was known to be at the house and when the fire actually started?
I don't believe we can answer at this time when was the last known at the home. We have heard there had been some interaction of the residents over the holidays, but as of a timestamp, we can't share that at this point.
But nobody was living in the home at that
It was not occupied.
So interaction, you mean just construction, or what kind of interaction?
Well, the home was under construction still, but there was a usable pool and a tennis court in the rear of the home.
Can you just talk about why this investigation is so important? If nobody was living in the home, nobody was hurt, why is this just such a priority for your department right now?
I wouldn't say it's a priority over any higher than any other fire. It's just a high value piece of property. The size of the property made it not even more of a priority, but a higher resource drag as far as putting personnel on it, calling for additional help, just because 27,000 square foot, multi-level, is a lot of material to go through.
Again, kind of follow back on my question. When was the last time that you know that somebody was at the house that had permission to be there? If that makes sense. Was it that day somebody was at the home that you're aware of, that whether it be a homeowner or contractor? Just trying to figure out who was the last person at this house.
Yeah, and I'm not going to speak on that. Again, that's part of the investigation that we're conducting.
So see what info or doorbell camera
Yes, the number that I provided, the 801-229-7579, that's the tip line for this particular investigation. Also on our Facebook, we're going to, after this news conference, we're going to put up a link where if they have information, they can actually go online and fill out on our online reporting tool that we have as well.
In a case like this, you're looking at arson, but what else would you be looking at in terms of potential charges the person could face?
Again, it just depends on that would obviously be the biggest one. And it just depends on the other mitigating circumstances behind how that fire was started.
So, Chief, you said that you're trying to determine what accelerants, so it sounded plural when you said it. Was there more than one accelerant that was used?
I don't believe I used the word accelerant. We have had indications from the K-9 officers from Salt Lake City Fire Department, and so those items are still being analyzed by the State Crime Lab.
So was there an accelerant, or was there a substance that was used to start the fire?
I can't speak to that at the time. That's still waiting on forensics.
And in terms of that evidence, what's the status of that evidence?
I can't speak to that. It's all caseload at the crime lab. It could take several weeks, is what we're hearing.
And what, in terms of the evidence that you've collected so far, what can you tell us to elaborate, give us a better sense of what that evidence is?
All I'll share on that is that there are items within the structure that we've removed as evidence, as well as pieces of the structure.
Just clarify what Brian was talking about, because you said the fire moved extremely quickly, and that, I guess, alluded to accelerants being used, but you're not confirming that there was gas or whatever that was thrown on the fire?
We don't have the data to support that at this point. That's what the crime lab is working on, is on some of those samples.
Is there anything else that would have caused the fire to move that fast?
There is, but not that we can determine at this time.
Kind of going along with that, at the beginning you just said that there was, the rapid progression was aided. So is that a confirmation of, someone was there that aided the fire and getting so big so fast?
We are still trying to determine how that occurred.
But it did occur, there was
We believe so.
So based on what you know so far, does this appear to be an amateur job, if you will, or is this more skillful than that?
I can't speak to that.
Lieutenant, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can't speak on that either.
Could you talk about where the fire, what the fire burned in terms of the home, where it was lit? Was it near the kitchen? Was it near bedrooms? Could you kind of describe where?
No, we aren't going to relay at this point a point of origin. We feel like we have discovered that, but we aren't going to relay that at this time.
Was the house furnished at all? Was there anything inside it? Was it bare?
It's a really unique property. There were some chairs around the pool area, and then some storage within the home, but it wasn't furnished like a normal home.
You said this doesn't rise to a greater priority than any other fire. There were words to that effect. So what is the sense of urgency in getting some answers?
Sense of urgency on whose behalf? Our behalf?
Yes.
We are at the mercy of forensics at this point. We've been working tirelessly over the last 10 days. That's why we called in some of these partners, like the State Fire Marshal's Office, Utah County, Salt Lake, so we can get personnel on scene to help process that scene. But now we're just waiting on data to come back.
You guys think this is intentionally set. Are you worried that you have an arsonist on your hands? Have you had other fires in the city? Any other buildings that have been targeted?
We don't have any other fires in the city at this time that we are thinking are connected to this fire.
Lieutenant, I'll try again. There have been a number of civil cases surrounding this property or entities that are connected to this property. To what degree are you looking at the court record or any civil matters that may shed some light on this fire?
So with it being an active investigation, our detectives obviously will be looking into any and all different avenues to be able to identify if there's anything suspicious regarding that. But like I stated, it is an active investigation, and we'll take that information, and I'm confident that they are aware of that as well.
How soon would you like to have additional information? Crime lab back? To what degree have you asked for an expedited return on some of those pieces of evidence?
So as of today is when the house was released, and so I know with our investigation, we're eager to get whatever information we can get back. Obviously, our detectives' caseloads are what it is, and as the chief stated, it's been 10 days that we've been on this, and so we're just as motivated to get information back, but we are at the mercy of the crime lab.
So, and is there a way to expedite the crime lab's work?
Again, I can't speak on that.
Have you asked for that?
I can't speak on that.
And when you say release, what do you mean when you say the house has been released?
So as the chief stated, the forensic evidence has been collected, and so at the time, we had officers that were staged there protecting it, making sure that the scene is secure. And then once we release it, we basically release it back to the homeowner, and it's that process of their insurance and where they're not meddling the scene, if that makes sense.
So all the evidence that you need, that you think you need, has already been gleaned?
Again, I can't speak on that. I would say based on where we're at in the process. However, like you mentioned, how quickly are we wanting information to be given to us? There may be additional evidence that is out there that citizens may have that we're still wanting if it's out there.
Do you have any descriptions of anybody who was at that home?
Yeah, I can't speak on that.
On the fire?
Can't speak on that.
I apologize if I missed it. Did you say a damage value amount?
I said the insurance people are on scene. They've been there the last couple of days working alongside us. I mentioned the listing amount of $3.9 million.
The actual fire damage?
But the home is going to be a complete loss, and the insurance company is making plans to demolish the remaining part of it. But they will come up with a final conclusion as to the value of the home and the contents.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, you say you released the home. Is the homeowner now back in control of the house and the insurance company?
The insured owner of the home does have control of the home. The insurance company, like I said, is on scene working with that homeowner.
So do you guys not have access to the home if you need more evidence or any more data to get found?
If we felt like we needed to go back, we would have access to it. Yes.
You know when they're planning to demolish the rest of the home?
Not at this time.
And one more question, you said that you guys had contact with the owners, is that in-person contact or just over the phone?
Again, I'm not going to speak on that. But we have been in contact with the owners.
You have been?
Yes.
Are there any other questions that anybody has?
I guess and I know you have said repeatedly we're at the mercy of the crime lab, but there's a great deal of interest in this case.
Yeah.
This situation. So for people who are, and I get asked the question, I'm sure you get asked the question many more times than we do. But for people who are out there saying, okay, when? How soon? Ballpark?
I'm not going to ballpark it. I will say when we did find evidence throughout the day, we expedited the delivery to the crime lab. We didn't hold it till the end. So we did everything we could to get the samples up there to get in the queue to get analyzed. But there's a lot of other agencies that are waiting on things just like everybody else. So
Could this also end, I know this is a potentially hypothetical question, but I'll ask it anyway. Could it be, at the end of the day, that you have all the evidence and you know how the fire started and you know if there were accelerants, you have everything that you need, but you still don't have enough to make an arrest or charge someone?
I'm not going to speak to that. That's up to the district attorney.
I'm sorry, did you say ATF or involved?
ATF did help us on this investigation, mainly just as a resource. They have a fire investigator that is local that was able to provide us some manpower over the last couple of days.
Were the homeowners there the night of the fire? Like, did they show up that night?
Again, I don't know on that one. I can't speak on that.
They were planning to have holiday parties at the home before it burned down to Disputing after, is that correct?
I can't speak after the fire burned. I had heard that there had been on scene for some holiday things before the fire.
They had already been on scene for holiday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that wasn't, there weren't future plans, but before the fire?
Yeah, I don't know about the future plans, yeah.
Okay, so does that kind of speak to what she was saying of the last known, people that were there, they were on scene?
Well, we don't know a timeline,
Okay,
but
just know that around the holidays, they were.
yeah. Anything else?
And Lieutenant, you said the phone number again, 801-229-7979?
No, 229.
229.
Yeah, 801-229-7579.
And you said, is that a dedicated number for this case?
It is. For this particular case, that is a dedicated number.
How often do you do that? Where you set up a dedicated line for an individual case?
It's rare that we do it. However, based on what we're wanting to try to accomplish, like you mentioned, being able to, if we believe that there's evidence out there that maybe people don't realize they have, we'll normally put it on our Facebook. But since there is an active investigation, we felt it was best to actually have a number that people can call in.
And what are you hoping that you get out of that?
Just anything, anything that can support the case that we're investigating.
Well, thank you all for coming out. We'll conclude this at this time.